Hello, my name is Sam Kiwi, and this is Backroads. Backroads is a set of tools that I developed for the Brave Collective FC team, and I am now publishing these apps for everyone to use. The first tool I built was the Observatory Finder. It's a tool that allows you to find Jove observatories close to any system you want to enter. Jove observatories are very important in the game because they are the systems where drifter wormholes can spawn in. And drifter wormholes are an incredibly efficient way of getting across the map in smaller fleets or in fleets of smaller ships. And we use this tool to quickly figure out where drifter wormholes could spawn if we need to get from point A to point B. For example, our staging is in UALX TAC 3, and within 5 jumps of UALX, we have 9 observatory systems. Now, this is without ansiblexes. If we look with ansiblexes, there are a whole 21 observatory systems. Some of them are out of jump range or out of Titan range, which is 6 light years, which are marked as well. And you can copy this system names as well for in-game. Routes are shown to the systems as well if you hover over them. You can also consider a Titan bridge from the first system, which expands our range even more. So if you take a Titan bridge first, and then look in the range of 5 jumps, you will find a whole 47 observatory systems within UALX. Now this is great and all, but let's look at another system where, for example, I might not have Ansiblex access to as a member of the Imperium, Fortec H. But still, within 5 jumps of Fortec H, there's only 3 systems, but let's expand the range a little. As we can see, within 10 jumps of Fortec H, there's a whole 29 observatory systems. That's a lot, especially with the recent changes in drifters. Manually scanning all these systems might take a while. So I would probably try to manually scan these 16 systems. I can copy all these systems for an in-game link. I can paste that in-game, and then all of these systems I can just right-click and add to my route, which is really efficient. So yeah, this tool is pretty simple. It just allows you to figure out where wormholes can spawn closest to a specific system, with the added ability to look with Ansiblex jump bridges. Now, the second tool I developed is the Drifter Scanner, which is a more specialized toolset we use in the Drifter SIG we have in Brave. Essentially, what this allows you to do is set a start system, set a destination. Let's say we're trying to get from ULX to Adioth, where we were just recently staging out of for a deployment. Now, without ansiblexes, this whole route would be 31 jumps. With ansiblexes, if we include them, it's only 15 jumps from ULX to Adioth, which is already a pretty short route. But let's see if we can get this even shorter. Now imagine we are in-game and we're running around these systems that we identify using the Observatory Finder, and we find some drifter wormholes. Let's say we found one in JI1. Wow, that's only 2 jumps away from ULX. This was a B wormhole type. For context, there's 5 different drifter wormhole types, and they can all spawn. To get from one place to the other, they have to be the same type. So for example, if I have a B-type hole in JI1, and in, let's say, DTAC I, we have an S, that's not going to give us a route. But if we, for example, have a wormhole in I6 TAC that is also type B, now we have a route going from JI1 to I6 that significantly cuts down the amount of jumps that we need to take to get from UALX to Adioth. As we can see, it's only 4 jumps, which is a lot shorter than 15 jumps. Now this is of course with ansiblexes. With ansiblexes turned off, it's 12 jumps, which is still better than 31. Now this list of ansiblexes, of course, if you're you're in a different group than the Imperium, this might take you a while to enter, but the Imperium has resources that can just let you import all the ansiblexes at once. Of course, if you want to include a Titan bridge from the first jump as well, it might make it even shorter. For example, JI1 isn't within Titan range of UALX, so it's only considered as one jump, which makes this route even shorter. Now this tool also allows you to enter other attributes of the wormholes. For example, the lifespan remaining and the mass remaining. Wormholes collapse at some point after some specific amount of time, usually within 24 hours. And they can also collapse if too much mass has gone through them. This information can be found in game when you look at the information of a wormhole. So this is also something we record. And I want to show one example of how this tool was used a while ago for a fleet that Brave did. As you can see, someone spent a lot of time scanning for wormholes. And remember, it's not guaranteed that a wormhole spawns in a specific system. So someone spent a lot of time trying to get us from UALX to HO4E, which in its own is 34 jumps. That's a long distance. But with the power of drifter wormholes, they managed to cut our route short to only 4 jumps, going in at JI1 and getting out at JXQJ. Now, of course, there's a warning symbol here. What does that mean? The lifespan of this wormhole in JI1 is less than 4 hours, so if the scan was done too early, this might not be a route that we want to use. Same for these two routes. This one has less than 1 hour lifespan, and also less than 1 hour lifespan. So the best route that I would propose one would use is this one, which is 14 jumps, which is quite a little bit longer, but has no warnings. We can also filter for these and see, okay, maybe this is something we want to consider. We want to have at least 50%, or we want to have more than 10% mass, and we want at least 4 hours of lifespan, which brings it down to these routes. This one still works. If we want to have the best lifetime, this would be the best route to take. Great. You can also copy these results for a Discord format, which I'm not going to show, but it looks all pretty in our Discord. And you can also copy the link, which lets you paste these into your browser to give you this exact result so you can share them. Now the final tool is the Bridge Planner. This is the tool I developed the most recently, and it's definitely the most powerful. This tool lets you figure out the quickest way to get from one place to another. This is like the in-game map, but a lot more powerful. Of course, it can do all the regular stuff that the in-game map can also do, like going from UALX to, let's say, Goon Staging CTAG J. Using the most efficient Titan bridge, which would be from GM-TAC into CTAG J, this route is only 7 jumps. But this also tells us that we should place the Titan in GM-TAC. That's the most efficient spot to put it. Yes, of course, the in-game map can't do the thing with the Titan jump, but, for example, Dotland can. Now here, of course, we also have the ansiblexes included, but that's also something you can do in Dotland, I believe. Now, what Dotland can't do anymore is, if we have two Titan bridges, where would those be placed the most efficiently? As we can see, we can bring the route down to 5 jumps if we place the Titans in O3 tag and in GPD. Now this, of course, might not be a regular use case for this tool, but a use case that I've used myself is during cap saves, for example, where we need to know as quick as possible how can we get from our staging to the system where the Rorqual or capital is tackled in. For example, if we have a Rorqual tackled in, let's say, YTAC Y, which is in Faithabilis. It's down here. We have one Titan bridge available from UALX, so from starting system. The best route to get to YTAC Y is to Titan bridge into T2 TAC, and then go 2 jumps into YTAC Y. Now, we might not be able to get a Sino ship into T2 TAC so that we can bridge in directly there, but we can also import all the sino beacons that we have in Tenerife's. And now we want to see where we could we bridge into. What's the closest sino beacon? We can check that and see, okay, the closest sino beacon is in JI1. And that would be a 3 jump route to get to YTAC-Y. Now another example that inspired the initial creation of this app is, for example, if we have to go into Providence. Where would we place the Titan bridge most efficiently to get there? In this example, the best use would be an MB-TAC. But there's also other routes that are only a couple jumps longer, where it might be a better spot. For example, I know we have a structure in 6-M, because that's still a catch. Now, of course, this is all with 6 light year range, like the regular level 5 jump drive calibration range of a supercarrier or a Titan. But of course, if we wanted to use Blops range, 8 light years, we can select that here, Blops with JDC5. Best system would be MB-TAC. And of course, for all the other ranges that exist, Oracle range with 10 light years, all the other stuff, and the skills can also be imported from in-game once you log in with your character. My main is not trained into any of these skills, so they're level 0. But usually, for example, my Dread Alt has these level 5, 4, and 4. Which of course increases the range. Now, the other part of the tool that was just recently added is the bridge only tool. This is a tool you can also find in Dotland, for example. But here we can also see how much fuel, for example, is used, how long it takes to get there if we jump as soon as possible or use the fastest arrival option, which might not be jumping as soon as you can. For context, the way that jump drives work in this game is essentially you get a jump fatigue and a jump activation timer every time you use your jump drive to get from one system to another. When the jump fatigue stacks, every jump you do after that, it takes longer for you to be able to jump again. So for example, if we're trying to move a Titan from UALX to, let's say, KTAC-I, there's a lot of jumps here. And the quickest route is going to get you there in 1 hour and 9 minutes if you jump as soon as possible. Now the fastest arrival might be the same time. That's how it usually is for these big ships. But if you, for example, have a jump freighter you want to get to somewhere, and it's a very long distance, so let's say you're going from all the way down here, from LX-TAC all the way up to, let's say, Tama, that's a lot of jumps. And as you can see, there's a difference between... Okay, this is still not enough jumps. Let's go a bit more extreme. Oh wait, this changed it to LX, that's why. So if we set the destination system to something down here, there's a lot of jumps here. With the jump freighter, you have a jump fatigue reduction, which reduces the fatigue. But jumping ASAP, so jumping the moment your activation timer cools down, would take 1 hour and 6 minutes to get there. But with fastest arrival, it will only take you 38 minutes, because there's a more optimized way to time your jumps to reduce the amount of fatigue. This is like the real meta game of trying to move stuff with logistics. So this tool kind of helps you optimize it. Of course, you can also add waypoints, like if we're trying to stop by and no clue. Let's say we try to stop by in our staging. It adapts the route, sees what the quickest way is to get there. Of course, it also tells you how much isotopes and you need, the total amount of light years you're going to jump, all the different stops, and all in a pretty beautiful UI with a beautiful map I'm still proud of. Amazing, and that's Backroads. Thanks for watching.